Hello and welcome to Off Track, powered by Rich Energy. I'm your host, Dave Neal, and, well, what an absolute delight in the Oulton Park paddock. We didn't know he was coming over, but there is no better way to introduce someone than the double Daytona winner, Brandon Paasch. Paasch, man, welcome back.
Thank you. It's always either really high mood when I talk to you or a really low mood. There's never
We've
any
done
in
the yin
between.
and yang, haven't we?
It's always either a really good time or I'm having a really bad time. So
yeah, we're not going to go down that Snetterton back of the truck route because that was low down. But mate, congratulations on your second Daytona win. How fantastic!
Thank you. Yeah, no, that was a pretty special race for me, to be honest. Like, I don't know, pulling it out 2 years in a row at the last second like that it's what you need to do, especially to kind of keep the momentum going and keep everybody interested in your career, really. Like, I don't know, that I had a bit of a rough go last year, just most of the season. I had some highs and lows, but then to come out and win Daytona again for the second year, it kind of solidifies it, especially when we got like the current Superbike champion came down and racing the 200. We had a lot of Superbike guys come back to race the 200 this year, and then we had a couple boys from Europe came over, some Africans. What's his name? The guy that finished second or third.
I can't remember.
From South Africa. Oh, Sheridan Moraes.
Sheridan Moraes, that's him. Yeah.
He races in the World Endurance stuff. Sorry, I drew a blank there for a second.
It's all right.
But yeah, no, it was nice to have a lot of competition, and this year was kind of one of those that like nobody could really say that I won it by accident or that I won it because nobody was in it, because there was a lot of competition, and that was a common thing last year. Was everybody just said, there was only one other guy in it, Sean Kelly, and this year it was a stacked grid. The factory Ducati team was there.
Right.
And yeah, it was actually pretty crazy.
Talk us, before we come back to the Daytona 200, because there's a whole story surrounding that as well. Talk us through the sort of back end of last season. You left on a little bit of a low, didn't you, with the wrist injury that you had that was at Snetterton, as we documented previously. But talk us through the end of last season and then the story of the winter for you back home in the States.
Yeah, so towards the end of last season, I really started to find my feet over here and was on the podium a couple times and then finally set my first pole position and wound up crashing the next lap and broke my scaphoid in my right wrist. Had surgery that next week and come back 13 days later to race at Oulton Park, which is the most physical track on the calendar. And just kind of struggled the rest of the year. Just was never really comfortable again and struggled with my wrist a bit. And then my wrist come good, but just my confidence wasn't there still. And I think I finished like maybe 8th in the championship, but had a bunch of top 5s there at the end of the year. And really the last round of the season, I was quite ill, but still decided to race. And I was fighting for the podium in the last race and wound up finishing 4th or 5th or something like that after the restart. But yeah, I finished the season not quite on the high that I had expected to, and went into the off season, got really sick. I was actually sick all of November, December, and January. Didn't do any training, was just laying in bed every day. Still don't even know what was actually wrong with me.
You still had it diagnosed what it was, with fatigue or whatever?
Yeah, I was going to a lot of doctors, couldn't figure it out. Everybody was just like, we don't understand what's wrong with you. Like, at first, we thought like, I don't know. I really don't even know what we thought. It was like COVID times 10, really. Like, no energy, just all my muscles in my body twitching and tired all the time, fatigued, couldn't do anything. I would get out of bed and just go to the bathroom and go lay back in bed for like 3 months nearly.
Which could all... There's a field of thought there that could say that would be the tribulations of the season and maybe a reaction to that as well. If there isn't a medical condition that you can pinpoint to it, it was a particularly stressful season for you.
It kind of come down to at the end, they were like, we don't know what else to tell you other than stress and anxiety can cause a lot of these problems. And obviously you're coming home after not really doing the best the past couple of months and being injured and sick, and then you get home, you don't have a ride for the next season. The season's creeping up on you. You're supposed to be training, but you're sick, and just a combination of everything kind of... I like I said, I don't understand what was wrong with me, but it wasn't good. So
moving through that and putting that period behind you to start the new year, to start 2022, what was the story then to go towards? Right, because we were hoping you would come back to the UK with a bit of unfinished business, and then the opportunity came up in Moto America. So talk us through that.
Yeah, I was I was kind of just weighing out all my options. I'm managed by Shaky Byrne and Matt Roberts, so we were kind of just looking around, seeing what the deals were, and my only request to them was put me on a bike that can win, on a proven package, in whatever series it is. I want to be on a winning team and make it so I have no excuse, and kind of take all the other variables out of it, other than just me. And really, the one program that I thought, okay, this is a winning program, it's a proven winning program, is Altus Motorsports Suzuki in the Stock 1000 Championship in America. And it was it was a proven program with a stepping stone into a superbike class. So 2 years before me, Cam Peterson won the Stock 1000 title on the Altus Motorsports Suzuki, jumped onto the M4 factory Suzuki. Now he's on the Attack Yamaha, the factory Yamaha. Last year, Jake Lewis wins the Stock 1000 title on the Altus bike. Now he's on the factory Suzuki and Superbike.
Definitely a pattern there.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a stepping stone there for sure, and all it comes down to is me winning at the end of the day. It's if I do well, everything's right in front of you almost, you know. So that's kind of where I wanted to put myself, and luckily for me, the opportunity was there, and I just jumped right in.
So where are we now with that ride? The Moto America season's basically kicked off already.
Yeah, so
you're not quite in the.
No, I really struggled at round one, but I a couple weeks before round one crashed at a test, high-sided on the 1000, dislocated my shoulder and knocked myself out. And when I got home from the hospital, I was laying in bed and dislocated my shoulder again, just laying in bed. So yeah, I had kind of a rough couple of weeks the past few weeks, but I've been doing my physical therapy, been doing my training and all that stuff, seeing the physio, and I'm getting stronger every day. So I'm ready to go racing. And round one really wasn't ideal for me. I showed up just not fit, honestly kind of scared of the bike because I'd just gotten tossed off of it and struggled. I finished 8th in the stock class and 13th in Superbike, and then crashed out of the second Superbike race.
But bearing in mind you've had no real experience on the big bikes.
No.
You've been a super middleweight rider for last
only 2 years.
Couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And then you're stepping up to the big bike. How much have you had to check to adapt your style? Because you're 6 foot, maybe and maybe a little bit.
Over, yeah.
So you're quite rangy. It would suit 1000 and some of the certain circuits that you're going to arrive at. How have you had to change your riding style to adapt to the 1000cc?
The biggest thing really for me right now is I've been carrying a bit too much mid-corner speed, and then also getting the bike off the edge of the tire, because especially with these Dunlop tires, if you open the throttle when you're even just a little bit leaned over, it gets this weird bounce from the tire, like the carcass of the tire starts squishing, and the only way to cancel it out is to roll all the way off the throttle. So once it starts bouncing like that, it's not even a pump from the shock, it's from the tire itself.
From the tire wall and the flex of the carcass.
And the only way to get rid of it is to shut the throttle. So figuring out that a big issue for me right now has been transferring back from the Pirellis the past few years to the Dunlops, and figuring out that front tire again, because I'm a big front brake guy into the corner. Like I really like to trail the brakes, and right now I've just been struggling with the feel on the front tire, and it's almost got no feeling compared to the Pirellis, which you can feel squishing around. So that's been the biggest transition right now.
Okay. Now tell me about how the Triumph ride came up for the Daytona 200, because that came a little bit out of left field, I think.
Yeah, no, for Daytona, honestly, I wasn't even going to do it. I was sitting at home, sick, just not feeling well. I was having a bunch of talks with the TOBC team, Michelle Lindsay, and I was still very sick, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to ride. So I don't know if you're telling Triumph this or that, but I don't want to disappoint anybody if it turns out that I'm really sick and I actually couldn't ride. So I kind of told them, like, yeah, I'll do it as long as I feel better by the race. And I don't know. I kind of just did my part of trying to recover as much as I could and start doing a little bit of training here and there and get my body moving again, start feeling good. And I didn't really focus much on the race, to be honest. I didn't have much input on anything that was going on behind the scenes. I had a really good group of people around me that were kind of putting all the puzzle pieces in place for me, and that really took a lot of load off of me as far as like what I had to focus on and where I could put my time and energy. So I just focused on myself, getting better and better and better, and they built a perfect team around me. They built a really strong package, and we had strong bikes all weekend, and Honestly, we didn't change much. We tested the bike 3 days before the race. We came into there not really knowing that we had the pace to win. As far as the riders, me and my teammate Danny Essick, we both won the race before. He's won it 4 times, I've won it once. And coming into there with that kind of confidence, we have a winning team. The team's won the race multiple times, and everybody's just very confident and not really too rattled showing up to the weekend. So I think even though we only tested the bike one day, and it was one day on the race week that we just showed up, tested the bike, and we're like, yep, they run, let's go racing. And showed up to Daytona right away. We were top 5 and just was trying to push on at the front. And yeah, we built all weekend on our pace, and I don't know, it was weird. There was no pressure, there was no nerves. It was just, let's go race and have fun, do some wheelies, do some slides, and see what it's like at the end of the race. And we were in the fight till the end and lined it up right. Perfect.
We did. We'll come to that shortly. I mean, when you won it last year, were you on an R6?
Yeah, the first time I won it in 2021, I was on an R6.
You were on the R6, weren't you? So when the opportunity came up to ride the triple, to ride the Triumph there, did you have reservation? I know because you've ridden it obviously with the Dynavolt team here last season. Did you kind of think, well, maybe kind of, or did you think you knew that this was going to happen? You knew the bike had the potential?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous actually. Like, when they were saying, "Oh, it's going to be the Triumph," and obviously I'd rode the bike before, so I knew what it was like, and I didn't have another option. It was either the Triumph or don't do it.
Yeah.
But so that kind of weighed a factor in as well. Like, obviously I want to race, I love racing, but I don't know, I was a bit hesitant just because of certain not problems, but just slight issues that I've always had with the Triumph as far as how I like setting the bike up and how I like to make the bike work and stuff. So
yeah.
But I was also weighing it out, and I kind of understood, like, the Triumph's very torquey, it pulls very hard. Certain corners on the Daytona track, it'll suit the Triumph, and there's other corners that it won't. But I was really thinking about it a lot, and I spent a lot of time in the gym where I was just sitting in the gym thinking about where the bike's going to work good and kind of picturing it in my mind of how the bike's going to react to certain things at the track. And it almost did exactly what I thought it was going to do at Daytona. And I think that was really a necessary thing that I had to do, was really understand how to ride the bike and what to do with the bike at the track, because it's a very specific style to ride the Triumph. So yeah, of course, that weighed into my mind as well of how to ride the bike and how it was going to react to Daytona. So I was a little nervous for sure.
Tell us the story of the race then, because the one thing that fascinates me, and regular listeners to the show know, that when we spoke in 2019 after you were pipped at the line there, and for 2 years on the trot now, you've made sure that move didn't happen again and nailed it. Talk us through the race, Brandon.
So all weekend at Daytona was quite strange this past year, where it would rain, and we're not allowed to ride at Daytona in the rain because it's very dangerous. So it would rain, and we would just be sitting around waiting for it to dry, and then it would dry, and they'd be like, "You're out in 5 minutes," and we're like, "What?" So everybody's trying to get ready. We're scrambling around all weekend. Same thing happened race day. We show up, it's pouring rain. We'd just finished warm up, it starts pouring rain. We're supposed to race in an hour, and they're like, we're putting the day on hold. We're putting the day on hold. Nobody knows what's going on. There's no communication from the series to the teams. Like, everybody's just confused. We're sitting in the pits like, well, I don't know what to do. So I took the time to leave the track and go get some food. And I'm sitting at a table in this Mexican restaurant with about 10 of my friends and a bunch of other people, and we're just sitting there like, oh, it's raining, it's not going to dry anytime soon. And I get the phone call, yeah, we're on track in 25 minutes. And I was like, uh-oh. So I'm putting my foot down to get back to the track, and I'm just rushing around, getting ready, and I had blood flowing already because I was late and I was rushing around. So
that's not like you to be late.
Yeah,
I'm pleased you're on time for the podcast, mate. I was expecting to wait 10 minutes for you.
I'm
fashionably late.
Usually on time. I like being on time, and I was just rushing around and wound up not even getting my typical warm up in before the race. And I have like a specific like warm up that I do before I usually race, and I do the same thing every time. So I didn't get that in, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is going to be terrible. And I don't know, I had a good qualifying on the weekend. I was 4th on the grid, right behind the factory Ducati. So I was pretty pleased with that, and best I've ever qualified at Daytona.
Honestly.
Oh, what's up, bro? How's it?
Storm Stacey. Storm Stacey.
Storm over here crashing the podcast.
Go now. Hello all. Hope you all love me. I'm not like what everyone says I am.
Everybody loves Storm Stacey. Everybody. Lord Storm Lord Stacey. God bless him. Oh, training partner of yours.
Yeah, I love Storm. We usually we're in the gym, but I haven't seen him in about 8 months, so yeah, it's good to see Storm. He's always funny.
And give your gym guy a shout as well.
Yeah, Sam Yasin. He's said he was going to come crash the interview, but he's not anywhere to be seen.
We had Sam on a couple of months back with Davey Todd.
That had to be
so we've had that on as well. So yeah, if Sam turns up, he can come on here, no problem at all.
Comical show that must have been. But yeah, no. So
back to your story. Never mind.
Yeah. So we started the race in 4th, and end of lap 1, we're leading. Me and my teammate Danny Eslick were at the front. The 2 Triumphs just sounded amazing at the front of the race. Just the echoes off the walls of Daytona. Led the first 2-3 laps, and then I let the guys pass me because I was like, there's no way anybody's pulling away here. There's a group of 10 or 12 guys. Sit in the group, wait for the pit stops, and then see where we're at. And it's exactly what I did. I just kind of sat at the back of the group most of the first stint till the pit stop. It actually got red flagged before the pit stop. So refuel, restart the race, and then it was just sit there and wait till the pit stop. Sat in about 6th to 8th that whole first stint, which is exactly what my plan is at Daytona. Just sit there and wait. There's no need for me to waste more energy and tire and everything at the front of the field. So I sat there and just waited it out, kinda, and came in for the pit stop, got out. We was in a good spot, just sitting there, still in the group. I had to work a little bit to get on the group, actually. I had gotten dropped a bit from our pit stop. I was maybe 2-3 seconds back, but I closed that gap pretty quickly in just a couple of laps, and sat on the back of that group till the next pit stop because I was like, there's nobody getting away again. You know what I mean? We get to the back of the group, and it's let's just work together, see what's going on after the next pit stop. Come around for the next pit stop. I'm the last one left on the track. Everybody, all the commentators are like, oh, he's gonna run out of fuel. And I come in, didn't change tires, refueled and went, and I was shitting myself on those old tires, to be honest. Like, we went back out, the thing's spinning all over the place before I even came in, and they didn't put a tire, and I was like, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. And was still somehow able to stick with the group and just kind of ran Cam Peterson down. I sat there, was just trying to be smart, save the tire, sit at the back of the group, and
saving the tire with not much left on it.
Yeah, saving the tire that was already smoked. Yeah, and I knew if they put the hammer down the last couple laps, I'm screwed because I have no grip.
Yeah.
Lucky for me, all these dummies rolled off the gas on the last lap, and that Triumph power came out because anytime that you're going from 0 to 100% throttle, the Triumph's always going to be stronger than an inline 4. So for me, I knew that in the back of my head, and I kind of kept that little secret to myself. And as soon as I seen them start rolling off out of the chicane, I was like, I got them. And we come around NASCAR 4, and I was like, okay, I'm in a good spot. I don't quite know how the slingshot's going to work, but I know it's going to be really close, and it was pretty close, 007 to the line. So
she's incredible.
Yeah. The new James Bond is here.
Exactly.
I've arrived.
The new James Bond is here. The 007 has
Sneak
arrived.
Up on him.
I love that. So that's set you in, which, I can see your old Rolex now.
Yeah. I'm joining
you have a new Rolex as well. So that's 2 now.
Yeah. I feel like Conor McGregor or something when I wear both of them around. Going out to the...
You did wear them both for a while, didn't you?
My birthday was just after the race. I turned 21 just after the race, and went out to the bar with 2 Rolexes on, taking photos like I was McGregor or something, showing up in a nice car and going on a yacht for the day. It was pretty sweet, but
it's really big time now.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's got to do it. There's got to be some kind of charisma in the sport. So
yeah, absolutely, there has.
I'm out here just trying to put on a show for everybody, win races, and have fun, and that's what I've been trying to do. Didn't work out for me at round 1, but the rest of the time it's been working out. So
we've got plenty more rounds left anyway. So
yeah,
you've got
still
plenty
8
more
chances
rounds to do what you want to do.
We're coming up to Virginia in a couple weeks. We got 2 stock 1,000 races and 2 Superbike races. So going to be a busy weekend for me there, but hopefully we can find some form and get back towards the front.
I don't doubt. We were chatting earlier on, weren't we? We were chatting earlier in the day, and the first thing I noticed is just how much size you packed on. You're a little bit wider than when you left back in October.
Yeah,
you're working out hard.
Yeah,
this part of 2022.
Coming from so rewinding a bit, 2018, 2017, 2019, all those years on the little bikes on the Moto3s, I was always starving myself, trying to be as skinny as possible. And then I got taller, and I got on the 600s, and I was still starving myself, trying to be as skinny as possible because 600s aren't so quick. So I was always a really skinny person, like always trying to keep the weight down, which I always struggled with because I'm so tall. And once I kind of hopped on the 1,000, I was like, all right, I can put on some muscle now, put on some weight. And I've honestly, like, just eating and going to the gym and starting to feel healthier and just more like a normal person, I've grown quite a bit. I'm looking a little bit thicker than I normally would, but it's not fat. I promise. It's just me going to the gym.
Does that end with a double C? Is it that kind of thing?
thick with 2 C's, maybe 3.
That's how it should be. Stuff stays. He's wandering off, look, giving it the side eye. So I tell you what else we can do is tell us why you're over in the UK. Because that came sort of under the radar a little bit, but somebody's on the Triumph Walk of Fame. Yeah,
interesting story to that is I was actually invited over for Triumph's like Hall of Fame thing. Their Avenue of Legends or Legend, I forget I should know the name of it because I was just put down in it.
And I should have looked at it before we sat and chatted. But
but anyhow, it's like they on their walkway into their HQ in Hinckley, they have these stones that everybody that's won something significant on a Triumph, they have a stone with their name on it and what they won. And they've just put me right up in front of Alex Marquez and Peter Hickman for winning the TT and for the first Moto2 Triumph Championship. So to be on a little walkway with all these guys, are just legends. Like Gary Nixon's got a stone. There's a bunch of guys that are like absolute legends of racing in general, and they're all on the ground there. So to be included in that was pretty special, and have a little ceremony just for myself at Triumph was pretty cool. Just showing up, and everybody that come was there to see me. So that was pretty awesome. And I can't thank Triumph enough for bringing me out here. And turns out I get to ride at Oulton Park on Tuesday after the race weekend. We're testing a new electric bike that Triumph's coming out with. Basically, it's the same as the Speed Triple, the 1200 Triple, with an electric engine in it. So that should be pretty sweet. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say
an NDA
about it,
for telling me that, have you?
I don't know. I mean, they're letting me see it. They gotta expect some people to hear about it or see it.
Something's going to happen at some point in that.
They're putting out a video for it anyway, so I'm sure.
Okay, so we're all good. That's all right then.
But it looks pretty sweet. I just rode it on the dyno the other day, and it's pretty torquey, and it's a very interesting looking bike. It's single-sided swing arm, like insane. It's belt drive instead of chain. It's very cool. And some of the things that I saw on that bike, I've actually been speaking to them about, hey, can we start maybe trying this on the 765 and make a little bit of a better weapon for next year at Daytona, because single swing arm would be like the Ducati, a lot faster on the pit stops, which is kind of where we struggled this year, was the pit stops. So anything we can do to improve that would be sweet. And I didn't know that they were working on something that would be that direction as far as swing arm. So for them to be making developments like that, it's interesting for me to see and to come to their shop and kind of just speak with them about what I think. Not that my 2 cents really matter, but
why not as a rider?
I mean, as a rider, it's definitely things that I think about all the time. Yeah. But I think for a bigger company like that, they don't really expect me to show up and be like, hey, change this, do this. They just think that I'm good at twisting the throttle, which I try to, but I also try to excel in other things as well, and I like to pay a lot of attention to little details and little things that go on with bikes and with the teams and how you can always make the situation better. So it's just something that I picked up on that I was pretty intrigued about.
There's a Triumph team in British Supersport still?
Yeah, no, actually, when I flew over, Shane Richardson's still injured, and I was doing my best to weasel my way in. There, and just timing wasn't right. There was some bits and pieces missing from the bikes, and so I tried to get on the bike, but it was just really last minute, and they also had a BMW 1000 sat there, and I was like, I really shouldn't. It's just too much last minute stuff, and if I had come a little bit more prepared or had maybe tried to put something together before I flew over, you might have seen me out here racing, because I love Oulton Park and I love racing in the British Championship. So it would have been nice, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to put a program together this weekend. And I also do think it's smart to just continue recovery and focus on what's really important, which is winning the American Championship this year and improving my results back home. So
it's a place you can get it quite excitable at, isn't it, around here?
Yeah, I mean,
especially because for your physical size, we were talking to Joe Sheldon Shaw earlier. He enjoys it round here, but he's kind of like 5'8"-ish, 5'9", but at 6 foot, your likes of Pete Hickman, Brad Ray today, setting a new lap record, winning the race. It's the similar kind of body structure.
Yeah, it's being a tall guy around here is definitely not a disadvantage for sure. So, like, over all the rises and through all the blind corners and the elevation and stuff, it makes it a lot easier when you can flick the bike back and forth and have some strength to do it and be a little bit taller so you have the leverage on the bike. And that's kind of what I'm trying to play towards my advantage back home this year, is just being a bigger guy. And obviously I'm on the Suzuki now, the Suzuki 1000, and it's a big, heavy bike, and being able to flick the thing around and throw it around is going to be one of my strengths. I didn't have that strength at round one, and that's really where I was struggling, was flicking the bike back and forth through all the S's at Road Atlanta and all the undulations of the circuit and the hard braking downhill, just holding yourself up on a shoulder that's not up to par, that's just already feeling weak. It wasn't easy. So that's the one thing that I'm looking forward to getting back, is the strength in my arms and being able to hold myself up.
When you raced Supersport back in Motor America in 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
2020. Which tracks are you looking forward to getting back to on the big bikes now?
Honestly, I was really looking forward to Atlanta, and then I wound up getting injured before, which is kind of a shame.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've never been like ridiculously fast around Atlanta, but I just love the layout. I love the circuit, and it's a really fun track to ride when you're in that rhythm, and you can just nail every lap perfect. It's such a fun track to ride. But we're going to a lot of really cool tracks that I like pretty soon here, tracks that I grew up racing as a kid. So Virginia, I'm not typically very strong at Virginia, but I'm going there with a lot of confidence and a positive mindset, and hopefully we can kind of change my luck around Virginia. Then from there we go to Road America, which is another track that I've always been pretty strong at. Fast flowing, more of a GP kind of track, and I think that'll suit my style a little bit more, especially on the 1000, where I can just kind of let the bike flow and do a lot more learning and have a longer, more open track to kind of learn on. Whereas these tight tracks, it's very difficult because you have to hit the marks every lap, every corner, bang on, otherwise you're 3/10 off, and these guys are doing lap record pace from first practice now. So after Wisconsin Road America, we go to, I don't even know where. I think we head west. We go to the west coast.
It's further away then. It doesn't matter too much, does it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
one round at a time.
Yeah, it's just one round at a time. I'm trying to look at the championship this year as the only thing on my mind now is Virginia.
Yeah.
And we get through Virginia, then we say, okay, let's start focusing on the next one, because
there's like a song in there somewhere.
I don't want to cast my mind too far in the future, really. Like, obviously I struggled at round one, so now it's, let's make everything as perfect as we can the rest of the season and try and keep chipping away, get to the front again, and yeah, just find the form that I know I can have, because 2020 was my first year in Supersport, finished off the podium once all year, crashed in 2 races. Last year, even over here, we was in the top 5 almost every single race. We're on the podium multiple times against the best guys in the world on 600s, really. So it's not that I can't do it, it's just figuring it out. And once I figure it out, it'll click and everything will be good. But it's just finding that one setting or that one lap that changes your mindset and gets that switch to flip. Then it'll be game time. But until then, we're going to be figuring it out. We'll be in the process. So,
just one last thing. We're back at Oulton Park, as you know, one of the places that you enjoy the most. How good has it been to be? The fans have seen that you're here and been pulled over for a couple of autographs and a couple of pictures. What kind of reception have you had while you've been back?
Oh, I've absolutely missed this weather. I would not want to be home in the 32-degree sunshine. I've missed the rain and I've missed the cold.
Literally, it's right. As we're sat here under sort of very grey skies. Yesterday
Shivering.
was the best day. It was fantastic. Yeah. We could have done this inside, but everybody's having tea, and it's, you know, sometimes you sit here in September and it's absolutely glorious,
absolutely beautiful,
and then
you get these days just into the beginning of summer, and it's freezing cold and rained a bit this afternoon. But no, it's like I said, it's been actually quite a good first day back here in the British Championship. Like, nobody really expected me to be back over here, and seeing a lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time, old friends that I haven't seen in a while, and just saying hi to everybody, fans coming up to me, which was kind of like, oh, that's cool. People come and say hi. Yeah, it's cool that people remember me.
They like me.
So that's always a good feeling when you have people coming up to you, and and just seeing old friends and talking to everybody and just letting everybody know I'm still alive, I'm still kicking. So, yeah, it's been great. Everybody's been happy to see me, and it's been real nice being back in the British paddock. So, I don't know. It would be nice to get a race in my bag this year over here, but like I said, I need to really sort myself out in the American Championship first and find my feet over there. And once the results start coming there, then we can think about doing other events. But until then, I really need to get my head down and get my head wrapped around the big bike.
So never say never to coming home.
No, never say never. I would, my second home.
Second home.
I love it like my second home. But no, it would be sweet to come back over and at least do a race this year, whether it's Super Sport or Stock 1000 or Superbike even. I'm not scared, so it would be nice to get back over here and do a race and get on anything really. I'm willing to ride anything. So
say that one more time for anybody listening.
Willing to ride anything. if there's anybody leaves the team or there's I don't wish it on anybody, but injuries or anything, like I'm always here. I'm ready to go. So
just a plane ride away, mate.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm just a plane ride away, and it's only 6 hours, so I'll be here in 7. But yeah, no, on a serious note, though, I would love to get back at some point and do some racing over here in the British Championship. I love it, and I've had a lot of experience here. I know the circuits, and yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't miss it, but it's also nice being at home and having all the comforts of my own family and getting back to other circuits that I know. So it's weird. Every year I've been going from 2019 racing the British Championship, 2020 in America, 2021 in the British Championship, now 2022 I'm back in America. So I'm just bouncing around a lot, and it is difficult to kind of bounce between the different circuits and the different tires and the different bikes and teams and figuring out how everything works and getting into the flow of everything, but we'll figure it out.
We'll look forward to seeing you back, mate. It's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for dropping in on the show.
Thanks for letting me take your time up.
Anytime, man.
Appreciate it.
I'm hungry. Tea's been served, but it's no problem. I'd much rather sit and spend what we done. We've got half an hour in your company, mate. Always a pleasure.
It's all right. Yeah, anytime.
Good luck, mate. We'll see you soon.
Ciao.